the divine acts of Sri Rama. Gaura Chandrika. Hail Gaura, who did to Murari show thy form as Rama with the curved horn bow. Then standing with a parasol upreared, Nitai as Lakshman the younger appeared. Then perceived Godardhar standing there, no other than Janaka's daughter fair, and recollecting knew himself to be that heroic and devoted monkey. Ramam Lakshmana Purvajam Raghuvaram Sitapatim Sundaram Kakutstham Karunamayam Gunanidhim Viprapiyam Dharmikam Rajendram Satyasandham Dasaratatanayam Shamalam Shantamurtim Vande Lokabhiramam Rakukulatilakam Raghavam Ravanari. Hail Rama, Lakshman's elder, Sita's lord, compassionate, chief of the Raghus adored. Kakutstha, store of virtues, beautiful, lover of holy men and dutiful, the advocate of truth, the king of kings, who to the world joy and happiness brings, the son of Dasaratha, of tranquil mien, whose dark complexion shows a lustrous sheen, ornament of the Raghu dynasty, who vanquished Ravan, the adversary. Hail Sita, Rama, Bharata, Lakshman. Hail Satrughna, hail mighty Hanuman. 1. Childhood. So now the gods perplexed their way had made to Narayana's realm to seek his aid, to rid the world of their 10-headed foe, whose persecution wrought them grief and woe. Since the grandsire, well pleased, Ravan blessed, who had through arrogance become a pest, Vishnu agreed, according to the plan, to assume the disguise of mortal man. King Dasaratha was filled with pure delight when he was graced with 4 noble sons, hight Rama the eldest, Bharat next to him, brave Lakshman and fair Satrughna his twin. Thus Vishnu, the indweller in all hearts, divided his one person in 4 parts, in answer to the celestials' prayer to slay Ravan, the cause of their despair. The holy seer Vishwamitra came to lovely Ayodhya, well known to fame, and sought the king that Rama with his bow to guard his sacrificial rite should go. With him the king reluctantly agreed, acknowledging his holy teacher's rede. So Rama with Lakshman, still young of age, followed, obedient, the mighty sage. What time they came into the gloomy wood, the ogress Tarka before them stood, whom Rama slew with his unerring dart, and pierced the demoness unto the heart. Then came they to Gautama's ancient home, and freed his wife who had turned into stone. Then onward to Janaka's town they go, to witness the worship of Shiva's bow. When first Rama of Sita had the sight, his mind and heart were filled with pure delight. And when Sita did Rama first behold, knew him as her beloved lord of old. All suitors, for her hand to their chagrin, must string the mighty Shiva's bow to win the contest that would Sita's fate decide, and take the beauteous princess for their bride. This Rama, wishing such a prize to gain, lifted and strung and broke the bow in twain. The solemn nuptial rites were duly sped, and Janaki and Raghava were wed. And thus he won the hand of Sita fair, in virtue, age, beauty, a perfect pair. Since she was Sri, whose wonted place of rest is always on her beloved one's chest. He met the Lord of Brigus on the way, who 3 times 7 in the deadly fray the martial princes slew and terrified, but Rama removed all of his vain pride. Part 2. Ayodhya, the city life. After some time, or some interval of tranquil life, there soon arose intrigue and rancorous strife. For Rama's stepdame, in jealous despair, desired that her son should be the heir. 2 boons she had been promised long ago, deferred, and now she would have him bestow. That Rama to the forest be exiled, in hermit's garb to roam the jungle wild, and Bharat be made heir and regent. The king perforce complied with her intent. So Rama, Janaki, and Lakshman went obediently into banishment. Guha, the tribal chief, ferried them o'er the holy Ganga to the farther shore. When Bharat was from Kekai's realm recalled, and heard of all that transpired, he was appalled. A 2-fold pain came crashing on his head, his brother gone, his royal father dead. He followed with his host the exile's track, in order to bring his dear brother back. But Rama chose to follow the decree of his late father, and a hermit be. For 14 years, until he should repair, he gave his sandals into Bharat's care. Part 3. For the forest life. Now Rama, to avoid the multitude, left Chitrakoot and entered the wood. The giant fiend Viradha there he threw into a pit, and thus the demon slew. Then Rama, Janaki, and Lakshman made their entry into Dandak's gloomy shade. The holy hermits and the sages there besought his favour and protective care, that with his bow and arrows he should kill the rovers of the night who worked them ill. But Sita pondered deep and wished to know, why should a forest hermit wield a bow? But Rama, answering her question, said that he was duty-bound to lend his aid. Thus while the exiles through the forest wend, they met Jatayus, Dasaratha's friend, who undertook what time the brothers go, each with his quiver and his sturdy bow, to hunt or bring fresh water from the well. He would, as Sita's guard, stand sentinel. And so it passed. While in the wood they strayed, they came across a wily demon maid. But when to capture Sita up she rose, brave Lakshman lopped away her ears and nose. The demoness then to her brother hied, to urge revenge and crush Rama's vain pride. Soon 14,000 demons took the field, who tridents, clubs, and trenchant falchions wield. But Rama's deadly arrows fell like rain, and all 14,000 demons were slain. The chiefs Kara and Dushana were dead, and Trishira, while Surpanaka fled to Lanka's town where Ravan made his stay, from whence he ruled with arbitrary sway. In anguished tones she made a full report. To this expedient he should resort. she told him of Janaki's beauty rare, who dwelt content with the two brothers there. If he to capture Sita would contrive, Rama and Lakshman could not stay alive. When Ravan, giant fiend, had heard her tale, he burnt with rage that made the sun grow pale. Ravan to Maricha then went for aid, disclosed to him the plan that he had made, that he, assuming any form at will, become a golden deer, and so instill an eager longing in Janaki's heart. Thus Maricha, using his magic art, should draw the princely youths from their reed house, then he, Ravan, should capture Rama's spouse. Reluctantly wise Maricha agreed, although he knew that for it he must bleed. Thus through the clouds across the azure sky the 10-headed and Maricha fly, and as they both to Janastan drew near, bears, tigers, lions, panthers fled in fear. The golden deer now gamboled on the green, now here, now there, in order to be seen of Janaki, to kindle her desire that she the lovely creature might acquire. And so it came to pass, as was designed. She sent Rama the golden deer to find. Then Sita made remarks that did appall Saumitri, who went off at Rama's call. So while Sita alone at home did stay, Ravan appeared and seized his helpless prey. Alas! The hapless dame called out in pain, "O Rama, O Lakshman," but called in vain. Then Jatayus, though feeble now and old, swooped on the ravisher with courage bold, and with sharp talons the demon assailed, but Ravan's strength over the bird prevailed, severed his wings and felled him to the ground. Then, clasping Sita, o'er the sea did bound. Meantime Rama in the deep forest stood, then met his brother entering the wood, and chid his indiscretion on the way. For whatever distracted women say, the wise should not from discretion depart. She meant it not, it came not from her heart. Then silently, dejected, on they paced, their way to their own hermitage retraced. But when they both arrived at that fair spot, they searched for Janaki, but found her not. Alas! Rama's wonted gravity failed. He hurried here and there, and wept and wailed. Then Lakshman, grieved himself, sought to relieve Rama, and told him that he should not grieve. Now Jatayus they found upon the floor, breathing his last, whom when they did implore to tell them which direction, if he knew, that they the robber's track might then pursue, which way the fiend had gone with his fair dame. Then Jatayus, of undiminished fame, all that there had transpired did unfold, Sita's abduction by the robber bold, the bitter conflict and arduous strife, which now deprived him of his very life. Toward the south the demon fled in haste. Pursue thy way, there is no time to waste. The ancient lord of birds then breathed his last. The brothers twain a frantic search then made through bosky groves in the gloomy shade, and looked in caves and dens of wild beasts, of lions who regale in purple feasts. They searched all regions many times and more, where tigers with their terrifying roar made monkeys, deer, and timid creatures flee, but nowhere did they fair mightily see. Rama, distracted, called aloud again, "O Sita, where art thou?" But all in vain. Then as they wandered through the wood they saw a monster shape surpassing nature's law, Kabanda named, whose mighty arms drew nigh his prey. Sunk in his chest a baleful eye beheld the brothers come into his view, and when his arms he them toward them drew, but they slew him and burnt him on a pyre. Then rising up before them from the fire, Kabanda, now a god, advised them so, that they to the old hermitess should go, who faithfully their way to him may guide, one whom to them will henceforth be allied. Part 4. The Monkey Kingdom. The brothers thus pursued their onward way, to where the pious hermitess did stay. She told them to proceed to Pampa's lake, and there a firm and earnest friendship make with Hanuman, son of the god of wind, Sugriva's wisest counsellor and friend. Then chaste Kausalya's son, the lotus-eyed, whose lovely hair in hermit's coils were tied, observed the wide expanse with blossom fair of Pampa's fragrant lake, which filled the air with pleasant odours wafted by the breeze, reflecting from the shore the stately trees, resonant with the humming of the bees. And coolly cooing waterfowl of divers kind brought visions of his queen to Rama's mind. Meantime Sugriva the princes beheld, and fraught with apprehension, he compelled the wind god's son to make inquiry, if either friend or foe the heroes be. So Vayu's son, though now he was an ape, could at his will assume whatever shape it pleased him, which power he did employ, and took the form of a fair Brahmin boy. Sagaciously he praised the princely pair, and questioned what it was that brought them there. Then Rama told him all, how they were sent for twice 7 long years to banishment, and Hanuman to Rama did relate Sugriva's grievance and his brother's hate. Thereon he did the princely brothers crave to come with him to great Sugriva's cave, and let a pledge of friendship there be made, and Sugriva would surely lend his aid. Then Hanuman of mighty enterprise resumed his form, dilated to vast size, and since the jungle had no beaten track, he bore Rama and Lakshman on his back. Meanwhile Janaki her sad fate bemoaned, and pining for Rama she sighed and groaned. The fiend with varied blandishment and threat to weaken her resolve essayed, but yet her mind from Rama's feet could not be turned, and all Ravan's boasting and bluster spurned. He kept her in the Ashok garden fair, and set a band of hags to guard her there. In contemplation on her husband's feet, the hapless girl grew pale and would not eat, as in her mind beholding Rama's face, the tears rolled down her cheeks in piteous chase. She said, "O Rama, Rama, where art thou? What shall become of your dear Sita now?" The hideous hags around her cursed and swore, who clubs and staves and knotty cudgels bore, and told her she should not for rescue hope, since neither gods nor fiends could ever cope with Ravan's prowess, for each saint and god he crushed like fleas, and o'er his foemen trod. Why should she for weak Rama thus lament, who lost his kingdom, sent to banishment, where here she could be queen, and Ravan's boast, esteemed among his wives and honoured most? Give up your obstinance and rigid vow, for helpless Rama cannot save you now. For if you still persist, with sharpened steel, we'll chop your limbs and have a dainty meal. And yet one of those hags from slumber woke, and to them all prophetically spoke. Avaunt, foul fiends, and learn what I have seen, for I have had this night a fateful dream. I saw destruction lay in store for all, Ravan and his mighty host shall fall. So leave the dame in peace and fright her not, for you will see yourselves in this same spot. Oh yes, a sylvan creature you will see, to wreak havoc and set the lady free. So Rama now, along with Lakshman brave, the wind god's son, conducted to the cave of great Sugriva, who was filled with joy, and welcomed them, and praised his wise envoy. Sugriva told them of the bitter strife that threatened to deprive him of his life, for Vali, his brother, without remorse, drove him and his companions out perforce. Then Rama promised that with his horn bow he would proud Vali smite and lay him low. A vow they made in brotherhood of love. Then to Sugriva his prowess to prove, Rama through 7 tall trees one arrow sent, which pierced the earth, and then to hell it went. Then rising up again from out the ground, it settled in his quiver at a bound. Emboldened now, Sugriva made his way to vast Kiskinda, eager for the fray. He challenged Vali with a deafening shout, whereat Vali from his palace came out. A mighty conflict thereon did ensue, with feigning, eager to subdue. But when Vali had gained the upper hand, Rama, according to what they had planned, drew back the twanging cord up to his ear, and like the city waster did appear. Eftsoons let fly a swift and deadly dart, which smote Vali and lodged deep in his heart. Then Sugriva was made the sole sovereign to rule Kishkinda's extensive domain. Now King Sugriva summoned monkey bands, the present search of Rama's spouse commands. Some to the west, some to the orient, some to cold regions of the north were sent. Another host, led by brave Hanuman and Angada, their eager search began, and southward over mountain, hill, and stream, in caves and coverts, sought for Rama's queen. The monkey bands searched all the region round, but nowhere was mightily to be found. They clomb the heights of lofty Vindhya's chain, and in due course beheld the briny main. Thus having in their search for Sita failed, were with brooding despondency assailed. But even as all hope was gone, they heard a wondrous speech delivered by a bird, who was indeed Sampati, and no other than glorious Jatayu's elder brother. With his keen eye across the briny sea, full 100 leagues he could clearly see the Emerald Isle where reigned the demon's king, and Janak's daughter sorely lamenting. The only task that lay before them now, to find a way across the sea. But how that was to be accomplished, none could say, and so again they fell into dismay. Part 5. The Beautiful. But Jambavanta, chief of all the bears, addressed a speech to drive away their fears. He roused the mighty wind god's son to dare to leap across the sea through fields of air, and seek in Lanka's isle for Rama's dame, a mighty deed granting immortal fame. So Hanuman, at one gigantic leap, traversed the sky over the briny deep. That glorious monkey, mighty Mahavir, the eagle Vainateya's only peer, across the firmament and onward through the clouds to Lanka's emerald isle he flew. And skimming o'er the water he did make a foamy track ensuing on his wake. The mighty monkey in a little while alighted on the sea-surrounded isle. To keep himself aloof from prying eyes, he shrank himself to a diminished size, and looking here and there and up and down, he entered in the robber's golden town. What time Maruti through the portal gazed, he marvelled at the sight and was amazed. The marble palaces and golden domes, the many-storied mansions of the homes of demon hosts, with gold furniture dight and pillars carved from shining lazulite, built by the architect of heavenly gods, now made into the Rakshasa's abodes. He made a thorough search in every place, but nowhere could the mighty lady trace. Then further searching out for Rama's queen, reluctantly he entered the harem, where Ravan kept each wife and concubine, now slumbering in hazy fumes of wine. The sagacious Hanuman was disturbed if he had not the taint of sin incurred, as he did looking on the ladies go through Ravan's sumptuous seraglio. But since it was a woman that he sought, he praised Rama and gave it no more thought. Then, as he searched its nooks and every part, he saw a noble dame somewhat apart from all the others there, and so he did ween he had at last discovered Rama's queen. He clapped his hands and kissed his tail in glee, frolicked and danced in pious ecstasy. He clomb the pillars, then to earth leapt down, and thus his true monkey nature was shown. But soon he realized it cannot be. The pious, chaste, and fair Maithili would not, no, never in a dream with anyone but Raghava be seen. So having marked the giant fiend, he came outside to make an eager search again. Eftsoons he saw a garden covered o'er with ashok blooms he had not seen before. Then in his mind did Rama's feet recall, and at a bound leapt over the high wall. Thus as the ashok grove he wandered through, lush fruits and flowers came into his view. Description is denied, let it suffice. He thought it was a very paradise. Thereon the monkey saw, or seemed to see, a lady mourning sunk in misery, seated upon the hard and dirty ground, whom demon hags with cudgels did surround. He said, "This is the dame in turmoil tossed, whom in the forest mighty Rama lost. Her mien and beauty confirm it is she, Rama's beloved Princess Vaidehi." There he awaited opportunity to convey news of her dear lord and king, and to her to deliver his golden ring. In trepidation he before her came, which terrified with fright the pious dame. He told to Sita, pensive and afraid, the tale of Rama, which her fear allayed. She questioned him in curiosity, how were the bonds of fond fraternity, which seemed to go against nature's design, where men and monkeys in friendship combine. Then Hanuman revealed before her eyes his form dilated to enormous size, and told her that she should be of good cheer, for Rama and his host would soon be near. Then, for reconnaissance, he wandered through the Ashok garden and some demons slew. To get a knowledge of the place, he thought how he should let himself by them be caught. But Ravan's vanity he shattered down, wrought havoc, and burnt down his golden town. And having cheered the lady once again, he leapt across the vast and briny main. So Hanuman, without further ado, over the sea back to the monkeys flew, and when he had to them made full report, they danced and clapped their hands in playful sport. With confidence and happiness endued, their way back to Rama's presence pursued. But ere they did to Kishkinda return, to taste the fruits of Madhuvan did yearn, the honey grove, dear to the monkeys' lord, where dripping honeycombs and fruit were stored. They besought Angada, who did approve, and so they rifled all the honey grove. They plundered all the luscious fruit divine, and capered round and quaffed the honey wine. Now Dadimukh, Sugriva's faithful guard, when he the monkeys' drunken riot heard, he came to forbid them, but they refused, and gave him a sound drubbing, and abused. Approaching Sugriva, the brothers twain, and did of the Prince Angada complain, but wise Sugriva took it for a sign, since they would never dare to drink his wine, if they had not successfully achieved their task appointed. So he was relieved. Now Prince Angada and great Jambavan, and all the host with mighty Hanuman, into Raghava's august presence came, and brought glad tidings of his lovely dame, at which Rama did enfold in his long arms Hanuman, brave and bold. Eftsoons Sugriva summons all the bands of monkey chiefs and issues his commands, that they, with clubs and cudgels, tooth and nail, Ravan and all his demon host assail. And so they hastened for the attack, with Rama seated on Hanuman's back, and Prince Angada likewise Lakshman bore. They southward proceed to the seashore. Now Rama and his monkey legions came to the deep and expansive briny main. The river's lord their way across denied, but did to them the means to cross confide. That Nala and Nila, artisans skilled, a mighty causeway o'er the sea should build, and so with rocks and mountain peaks and trees they covered all the distance with great ease. Now old 10 Heads, good brother, sought for aid. His head at Rama's lotus feet then laid, and though some doubted and were questioning, Vibhishan was anointed Lanka's king. Then Rama with his host in a short while alighted down on Ravan's sea-girt isle. Part 6, The War. So now is sung of battles and of fire, of fearsome combat and contention dire, where serried ranks on either side oppose, and in the dust and din of conflict close. The portents and the omens all conclude destruction for the demon multitude. The monkey host, with Rama in the van, amid the foe the skirmishing began. The demon host let spears and tridents fly, hiding the sun and covering the sky. But Rama's missiles drove their weapons back. The monkey chiefs pressed on the fierce attack. Like torrents, Rama's thirsty arrows flood the demon host and drinks their spouting blood. Thus mortal combat raged for many a day, with demon chieftains entering the fray. For single combat arrogant and proud, vaunting and boasting stupidly aloud. But as each came with parry and with thrust, each demon chief confounded bit the dust. The monkey bands with nail and tooth and claw, the wicked demons beat and slashed and tore, muddying all the field with blood and gore. And as the monkeys on their foemen sprang, with foining and with feigning thus they sang, "Victory to the glory and the grace of the ancient and noble solar race, Kaushalya and Dasarata's own son, the great Vishnu himself, the mighty one." But finally Ravan himself came out, with martial ardour, ready for the bout. The fiend Ravan, exulting in his pride, and mighty Ramachandra, lotus-eyed. For gathered on the sanguinary field, mutually determined not to yield. In his o'erweening pride and arrogance, Ravan was bloated with vain confidence, and said, "What, Rama, art thou yet alive? By luck thou didst the serpent bonds survive. But hither come, thy vaunted valour show, and if thou hast the strength, then strike the blow." But Raghava, serene in conscious pride, disdaining Ravan's bluster, thus replied, "Long speeches may become the orator, but in the stern arbitrament of war, the truly brave for speeches have no care. They show themselves by what they do and dare. Now for an inglorious death prepare, thou dog." And then released a pointed dart, and smote the wicked Ravan to the heart. The celestials marvelled at his powers, his praises sung and pelted him with flowers. Meantime Janaki, fraught with anxious care, remained upon the brink of sore despair. But when she heard the victory was won by monkey hosts, led by Kausalya's son, her heart was filled with joy at the event, and kind messages were between them sent. But when before her lord fair Sita came, Rama was embarrassed and touched with shame. Oh horror! Then was built a burning pyre, and Sita proudly entered in the fire. But Janaki stepped forth, unscathed again, unblemished as always, and free from stain. In love Rama and Janaki embrace, against his manly breast she hides her face. Now then, Vibhishan, Lanka's new-made king, the aerial conveyance there did bring, and Sita, Rama, Lakshman, Hanuman, and all the host their long journey began. And flying back across the sea again, saw demon hosts in heaps and monsters slain. Thus Sita, joyous, now safely restored, shone brightly beautiful by her dear lord. Now all this time Bharat, true and upright, had lived the life of a stern anchorite, governing and accounting the state's dues in deference to his dear brother's shoes. And so indeed, when he had heard the news, he came forth from his hermitage to greet his elder brother Rama's lotus feet. The sage Vashishta and the Brahmin band, and all the people living in the land, gathered to greet Sita and Rama fair, as they approached through fields of liquid air. The Pushpa Vimana now lighted down. In waves of rapturous joy the people drown, with waters from each holy stream and spring. Heroic Rama was anointed king. All through Rama's long and glorious reign, it seemed the Satya age had come again. The people of the town and settlement were happy, lucky, cheerful, and content. All hail to Sita, Rama and Lakshman, Sugriva, Angada and Hanuman, To Bharat Satrugna glory be, to mighty Shankara and Parvati, and may the god with the elephant's face remove all ill and grant mercy and grace. Jai Sri Ram. Thus ends the divine acts of Sri Rama.